going to talk about taking military surplus gear and turning it into an IFAK. So this is not a trauma kit, this is just a first aid kit. But anyways, what I use for mine is an old Alice pouch, the ammunition pouch. So I did some little modifications and I'll go over that. But basically, this stuff can be bought for, $5 and maybe under. It doesn't need to be in the bestest condition ever. I would at least recommend that it actually have the snap on here. For the grenade pouches, don't really need them. I mean, it can have a little bit of scuffing on the outside or inside or whatever, but as long as the thing is well contained and it doesn't necessarily need this hook right here, though you can use it. But as long as you can still use these hooks or some form for keeping it on your equipment, then it's pretty much all good. You might even want these side areas for something like if you want to have tourniquets hanging on there or whatever, then that's on you. It's very versatile. However, I'm going to go ahead and open this up and talk about what I have inside and why I decided on this over something else. Okay, so first thing that I'll go ahead and point out is my modification here. I cut off the little grenade holders, I guess you could say, and I could have kept them on. Probably should at least have kept one on, secure a tourniquet or whatever. That's up to you, but it's no harm, no foul. I don't even have this thing completely full. But as you can see, there is some fraying out here. It's not really compromising the integrity of this thing to hold things. So, if you're going to be getting one of these, you can get them for real cheap if you go with like a grade 2 or 3. The only problem would be if one of these clips is broken, because you need both of them, because you can have it pinched just one side and you have the other side holding it. But if all you're down to is one, then that one gets hit and it's going to open. So that was something I actually had experience with in boot camp. Is I had one that was actually missing one of these teeth, and it came open all the time just by wiggling it around. So make sure that you have both of these on there, both clips on there. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And here I have a trauma bandage that I cut open, and then I basically rewrapped, or I put it back in there and cinched it down just to take some more air out of it. And I just used a piece of electrical tape. It's pretty easy to, open up and still use. And this is kind of in order of priority. So high priority, having a trauma bandage, and then, quick clot, and then another bandage on there. This you can actually get out of the old school medical pouches or the little first aid kits. They have like 2 of them in the first aid kits, the actual old first aid kits. And then a triangle bandage that actually comes out of the old first aid kits. This stuff doesn't expire, it's just bandages. And this one is still sealed really well, so it's all good. And quick clot, a lot of people are turning away from quick clot, but I think that it could still have good use in, from my experience and what I know. I think that it still has good use today. It's a good tool to have around. And then this is also gauze, some roll of gauze that came in the old medical pouch. Gauze is pretty useful, and this is like the smallest size that I know of, and it's actually 6 yards, so that's pretty good. It's not going to take up as much room. And then also in here, I have my little petty kit, so I have duct tape, I have little medical tape right here, and you can also write on it and stuff like that. That's what it's good for. You can do that in duct tape too. But I also have pills, and I put like a cotton ball in here to keep it from rattling around. So that's good to have a Ziploc bag. And then I have an eye patch kit, or iPad kit. So this actually comes in the old, first aid kit as well. So, I mean, if you want it, fine, but, if you don't, you don't. And then a couple of sets of Band-Aids. Personally, I just put these here as an example of what you can have in there. This did come out of the old medical kit too. So, yeah, I got a lot of stuff from the original medical kit, from the old first aid kit. So, anyways, this is basically, it's a little surgical blade. So this can be good for cutting open clothing, making incisions and stuff. Like, there's plenty of medical applications for it. So anyways, yeah, that's what I got in here, and I can always add more. But here's where I started. I actually found one of these at my local surplus store. So this is what a lot of people would think, you know, hey, well, Alice Gear actually has its own, there's a first aid kit for Alice Gear, and it actually comes with its own little handy dandy little first aid case. So yes, this is kind of convenient and stuff, but you know, there's a big opening right here, so you can't take stuff out of here and get more room in here. It's got a big opening, stuff can fall out. And in here, I mean, the size of this thing, first of all, the size is pretty small and not much room on the inside. But yes, it is water resistant. However, notice all the stuff here is still sealed. And anything that isn't perfectly sealed, it doesn't really need to be perfectly sealed because it'll be fine, right? So with this, I'm losing space compared to just this. This is, you know, wider. It can get wider. It can also get taller. And it's about just as wide when you use it all the way. When you use this thing and fill it up, it's just as wide. So, you know, this thing kind of loses its usefulness as a medical kit because it's just kind of taking up extra room. I would use this in a backpack for, like, oh, I don't know, stuff that you may not want to get too wet, like maybe your TP, your coffee, or whatever you want that you want to have water resistant, and you can find a way to seal it in, but something that doesn't need too much room, maybe hygiene stuff or whatever. So anyways, with all that said, you can always add to this, and from all the stuff that I was researching, I haven't found a better way to really, or a more affordable way, let's say that, for on a budget, something that's quick that can attach to your belt, or you can take these clips off and just throw this in your bag and maybe attach a lanyard to it. Who knows? You can do whatever you want with this, but this stuff is inexpensive, it's readily available, and it holds a lot of stuff, and you can pack however you want. I got my own priority, which is like, if I have a lot of time, then I can afford to take that time to dig down for stuff and pull stuff out or whatever. If it's an emergency, the highest priority goes first, which is, you know, stopping the bleeding. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is an Alice magazine pouch, and you know, with a few modifications, it can carry a lot more stuff than this old first aid kit can, and you know, it does the job just as well. The only difference between this and this is basically all this stuff would have to be water resistant on its own, and that's what Ziploc bags are for, and keeping this stuff basically sealed already. So I'm not really too worried about, but if you guys have used these things or other parts of Alice Gear or other gear, go ahead and put it in the comments below. You know, I'm trying to go on to things that I've repurposed and try to give you guys ideas on how you can still use it. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. Give this video a like, subscribe, and you guys have a good one.